Okay, so I think we getting some data in. I think it's saying that we live. All right, but just in case, I'm gonna start recording. Let's see. Let me make sure that I'm live here for a second. Always got to do these prereqs. All right, does it say I'm live? I think it says we live now. Okay. I think it says we good. What's good, everybody? Happy New Year. Just coming into the new year doing a live mix session. I'm not going to take up too much time. Hopefully not. Started sipping a bit of some coffee here as well. If the mic is too loud, I apologize. Just let me know. We're going to get right into it. Today I have here a song that I did about a couple of months ago from a beat I found from the producer Flagman. Shouts out to Flagman. I have about 2 songs right now that I'm planning on getting the beats from him. Because I think he's a dope producer. But this song is called Summer Edition. It was just something that I wrote originally for OVK, but once my series OVK, which is a mixtape series that I was gonna finish off at 5, but I ended up stopping at 3. I was building 4. I was working on 4 and just decided to scrap it. Just decided to go all in on my new venture, which I'll talk about here. I know I've been gone for a while, but today I'm just gonna build on what I love. I love to mix, and I just really wanted to get this out here for the New Year's, restart my channel, everything. I'm looking at this session here, and I've learned a lot in these past few months that I've been taking some time since I wrote this song, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, I think we could do this a bit better. This is the rough draft. I'm looking at how I'm organizing the session, and so I want to show you guys like my whole entire thought process, and with this thought process, I'm expecting it to be a lot faster. And once you get down like a certain system, because I preach systems, that's the biggest thing that I want to talk about on my channel from here on out are systems. Systems are going to help you when you don't know what to do with the song, when you don't know how to move forward with anything in your song, you don't know what you want out of the song. You can start to build on what I call systems, and I have a sort of system that I use when I'm mixing that helps guide me. So I kind of did this as a rough draft. I had a certain idea when I was doing this, but upon listening back to it, I was like, well, let me mix it again. Let me mix it as if I was going to release it. Disclaimer, I do not plan to release this. I plan on only keeping this on YouTube for nonprofit, with respect to the producer Flagman. So with that said, just going to show you my simple setup here. It doesn't look like we have a lot working with today. This is not my normal session. I usually have a lot more tracks, but like I said, I was just moving through this and I actually like this as it is. So what do we have here? All right, so if you look left to right, we have the aux tracks. I have the I call it the vocal reverb, which just looks like an R-verb, probably with a plate on it. Yeah, it's just an R-verb with a plate. We don't have anything for room reverb, plate reverb. I guess in this time period, I was thinking about doing some stuff with live mixing and live drums and stuff like that. I think I was experimenting with that at this time period. We got some verbs. We got 2 delays. I believe they are both H delays. One is a quarter note with a ping pong setting. Looks like it also has some RVox, maybe some side chaining happening there. We'll have to look into that. Then we have a 16th note, which is probably mimicking some slap delay or some chorusing, some controlled chorusing. And so that's pretty much all of our effects. We don't have many effects here, and we have some auxes going out. Each effect can send to its partner effect. Then we have our master channel with just the WLM meter. When I'm working in my headphones, I use the Waves Ocean Way Nashville NX. I think this is wonderful for gauging how your it's not like room simulation per se, but it's like it kind of adds like a little bit of ambiance, kind of softens the sound so I can get a bit more sense of how, you know, things sound in a certain setting. Not sure if it's 100% accurate, but it has worked for me in a lot of my mixes, so I just tend to use it. Then we have our prints. Our print buses is what I like to call it. We have the entire mix bus, which every track is pretty much routed to. And everything has its own specific one, but everything comes together under the mix bus, and only on that we have the NLS bus. We have the key detector. I think I was looking for the key at one point, and then we have the limiter, which is amazing here. Then we have the music, which we only have the 2-track beat going into this, but if you have some track outs, if I have track outs, I usually like to have a music bus going out. That way I have one control for all of the instruments and drums, and then from there, if I had track outs, we could, you know, separate them into different things. Then I have my vocals, my vocal bus, and I tend to like to do a vocal bus on everything, all my vocals, right? So no matter, you know, if they're lead vocals, ad libs, they all come together under this. Now this, in hindsight, as I've matured in these past few months, this is a bit overkill. So I'm probably doing a little bit too much here, but usually I throw a Fairchild, some type of gluing compressor, and I kind of hate that word now. Some type of compressor or saturation that kind of brings all of the vocals at a certain level, keeps them at a certain level without limiting. And then we have our EFX. So this EFX is my all effects bus. All of the effects get routed here. I like to do things where I cut the beat out and then I cut all of the effects out at one time. I don't want to have to spend time, you know, manually automating each mute. So I get one track to do all of that. And then everything else is the tracks itself, or are the tracks itself, grammar, right? And I'm looking here again. I pride myself on moving fast, especially when I'm recording. So a lot of times when I'm recording stuff, I definitely you know, don't do these. Now I probably built this template on the fly. I normally have a template, especially when I'm recording, so this tells me that I really like this beat and just got going with it. But as you can see, I have put effects on each individual track, which is not a bad thing. I mean, we have 10 tracks on each track, or 10 inserts on each track, that allows us to do that, so it's not illegal. And you know, I like the rough draft, it sounds good. But we have a couple of effects on here. I won't get too much into detail, but without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play this. And I like to get my first impressions and kind of show you what I like to do whenever we do this. And we'll try to play the whole song throughout, because I like to get a gauge of what I'm listening for. Okay, so here we go.
It's my job to handle life and death situations on a daily basis. It's what I do, and I'm very good at it.
Flagman.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need a reason. Capricorn, but I move like Gemini. On the same vibe as GoldenEye. 2 Chainz featuring a Drake. You can't never say I told a lie. I can afford them little peanuts on that plane, little bitch. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bitch. Who the fuck these niggas think they are? They know shit. This shit can go one direction if you say in this bitch. with me, and they all know the pop semi-autos out of autos. Now that's rocket power for the darkest hours. My brightest days seem money showers. I'm so peculiar to the unfamiliar. Wake up in the grind, no coffee filters. I do this. You gon' need the Hubble just to view this. Need more than a shovel just to dig me. This the old Izzy if you miss me. I got a whole assistant just to make decisions. Coupe all white like it's a race condition. You can hate it, we ain't in the same position. I just off like when your bay undressing. I'm a grown ass man, why the fuck you playing with me? Make the whole world feel me like the pandemic. I can afford them little peanuts on that plain low bitch. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, low bitch. Who the fuck these niggas think they?
All right, so that's gonna repeat. I'm liking it. You know, I'm still in love with the rough draft, the rough mix that I've done. I mean, can you even call that a rough mix? But I think I'm liking it that as it is. A few things that I'm noting, like I said, it just sounds to me a bit overprocessed, a lot more overprocessed than I'm comfortable with these days as I've matured. Overall, the session is disorganized, a lot of that stuff. I made this song off of Move Fast, Break Things, so I'm gonna do something a little bit unconventional because and hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me. But what I have done, well, what I'm gonna do is I usually don't, especially when people send in mixes to me, I'm usually not a person that tries to rewrite or reinvent the wheel. And I've learned that from Leslie Brathwaite. Whatever the person sends or whatever you get as a mix engineer, it's usually been approved by some people who probably don't want to see a change. And another factor is that how much have they listened to their rough version, because the amount of times that they've listened to the rough version does depend on how much you can actually change it. But in this case, since it's my song, since it's what I wrote, I'm okay with making a few changes here. A few changes, if I will note, and you'll have to forgive me, I have the Sony MDR 7506s, and I've had these since 2016, 2017, and they're starting to give out on me. My babies are starting to give out on me. So I'm hearing it a lot different these days than what I used to hear out of these. But it just sounds to me like the vocal is thin, it's kind of pushed back. Miraculously, I want that sound, but I want to be able to control that sound. In other words, I want the crisp top end without the boxiness, because it sounds a little bit boxy, but it sounds thin. I still want it to be a little bit thin, but if we can take out a little bit of that boxiness. But here's the thing. I'm probably going to do this with as little plugins as possible, because my theory now, and which should have always been my theory, but it makes more sense now as I've matured, is that leveling and panning is going to be your biggest thing when it comes to mixing. If you can get the levels and the panning right, pretty much everything falls into place. And then off camera, I've done a lot of experiments with this, just focusing on levels and panning, and you can get a song 80 to 85% there just by doing that. And I think I have preached that on this channel at some point in time. But yes, you can definitely do that. Now, the most important step before we do any type of mixing is organization. You want to come in your session prepared. So as I've listened to this, I'm hearing, okay, I know exactly what I want to do. I know how I want to change it. And it's a game plan at the end of the day. It's not anything set in stone. It's just what we want to do. So the first things first is that I'm going to clean up the session, organize the session. That's the biggest thing. That's going to help me get my thoughts out, keep me in the creative keep me in the creative mode, and it's going to allow me to mix with ease. And so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, first off, we need to get rid of this track. And I don't necessarily delete tracks, I just hide them and make them inactive. Excuse me. In Pro Tools, But I also like to color code. So I'm going to start by color coding. I like to do all of my aux effects this type of green. All right, so sorry about that. And so I'm now going to go here and make these green. So yeah, I'm gonna make these green. All right. So I like to make my aux tracks green. In me. All right, sorry about that. And so I got this here, and now we have our auxes here, our print tracks. And so with my print tracks, I got like I said, my mix bus, my vocals. I kind of like these the way that they are, so I'm gonna keep them like that. All right. And so I have to now rename these tracks, and I'm now going to say, let's go, this probably would be my lead vocal. All right, and this would be my lead. I call it the spillover, but it's SO. Anything that spills over and has to go into the next track, we can just call it lead 2. Not sure what this is. Let's hear this out. And then also the important thing to note is that these tracks have been edited. I haven't done any of the, tedious things like going in and making sure this is there, but we're gonna move fast. So I'm gonna go here and figure out what this is. That's what I was gonna do. Okay, so this is my hook, and this is also my hook. So I'm just going through naming this stuff, and I do know that this is my hook dub 1, or you could say hook dub left. I'm gonna go here. That's the hook dub 2, and I think after that is just the beat. Oh no, then there's ad libs, and then there's the beat. Okay. All right, and so now the other part to this is that I'm going to color code. No matter how many tracks I have, I'm always going to make my vocals orange. And as you can see, I also have on track and clip color. So the clip color becomes the color of the track. If you have Pro Tools and don't have that set up, just go to Preferences. It's right there in front of you. Display. Default clip color coding is track color. Now, I do have Pro Tools 2019. I have Pro Tools 2019. So I'm not sure how it looks on the newer version. But the beat, I always do this deep blue at the end here. And I typically make my beat, I do my beat before my lead vocal, so we're just going to push that up there. So here we go. And just going to zoom in, make sure I didn't mess anything up. All right. So everything kind of looks good here. And so here's the other part to this. Before I make any changes, right, I'm going to go in, I'm going to save as, always save a new version. And my new conventional way of naming my files is to set the date that I start working. Doesn't mean that it has to end on the same day, but I do it as the year. Then I do it as the, we are in 2026. Happy New Year for the people that just joined. So we start with 2026, 01, 01, and then I rename it to whatever it's going to be. I've become a programmer, so everything is underscores and dashes so that I can find it easier in my files. And so we have our 2020 summer edition. I'm just going to call this mix version 2. And that's it. So now we are working with a brand new session, just in case we need to go back or we make any mistakes. We can we haven't saved the original one. Now, like I said, normally I would keep everything as is, but we are going to go ahead and destroy everything. Everything? Yes, everything. Except, with the exception of the effects that I have on here. Like, for example, this hook has this meta flanger, it has the Abbey Roads. So that pretty much is the sound that I was going for. And so I'm going to keep that. But things like the processing, any stuff like that, we can get rid of that. So I'm just going to start completely from scratch. We don't want to get rid of that. Sorry if I have to do this one by one. Actually, we'll start here so I can make it a little bit faster, because these are pretty much the same effects. Okay, and look at this. I mean, we got 3 separate EQP1As on 3 separate tracks. That to me just screams amateur. And it's not that it's amateur, but you know. All right, so I'm gonna keep these effects on here. And another thing I'm gonna do is keep on the waves tune. For some reason I had it down there. We're gonna put it up here now. Okay, and then we're gonna get rid of this. Okay. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm gonna try to keep talking. What did I like about the song? There was this punchy aggressiveness, aggressive tone that I had to the sound, kind of like that choke sound that you get from compressing too hard. I actually like that sound. I don't know what we were doing here. Okay, we can get rid of that. There was this choked sound that kind of gave the vocals a little bit more punch. We're going to try to see if we can recreate that with as little tools as possible. My first thought is the 1176, but if we need to, I'm going to try to go for something with saturation. So we may go with some type of stay level sound. I know that's a bit smoother. Excuse me. We may go with a stay level. My last resort is using the smoothness of the LA2A, but I don't think we're going to use a LA2A for this. So as you can hear, I'm like planning out my strategy here. I'm going to keep this auto pan on here, and I'm going to keep these vocal benders on here, because these vocal benders changed. That's pretty much vocal production to me. So I'm going to keep that on there, and then I'm going to get rid of this stuff on the vocal bus. Now, I am going to keep the saturation on the mix bus. I am also going to probably add some saturation across the board with the NLS channel, just so we're not working with a completely sterile sound. Now, from my remembrance, I was recording into the Avalon 737 from UAD, the plugin itself. And so we already kind of got the sound here. And so we're actually listening to this in raw form. I'm actually going to turn this down. So I'm going to come here. I like to create a group track called Level All. It's just called Level All. It literally just turns down everything. And then because we know this beat is loud, and I'm not really going to like focus on trying to change the beat itself. We're just going to get it at a healthy level, right? So I remember it being at 12.8. And so I think that's going to be nice. All right. And so let's hear what we got here.
But see nobody kill it better.
Alright.
Pedal to the metal. Presidential shit no Mandela. 1500 Montclair.
So I kind of like to, you know, we have a very low vocal for some reason. I guess I was recording into it, but
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean?
So listening to it in the raw form, I'm hearing now why I made a lot of the decisions that I did. So we got a lot of the oh, I remember now. Okay, so I had broken my pop filter, and so I learned this trick that if you rap with a or if you sing or into the mic with a pencil to your mouth, it kind of like breaks up a lot of those plosives. And so trying to still record, I definitely was using that trick. And so those plosives still come through. It's not my best stuff, but I think that's why we made a lot of the decisions. So with that in mind, we are definitely going to change up our strategy. I'm going to listen to this here. And remember, I said a lot of this is going to be levels and panning. So I'm going to turn off these effects because I forgot to turn those off. And so let's just try to get it to a good level. And I'm probably not going to talk as much here because I would want to spend most of my time, trying to get it as decent as possible. So let's check it out.
Woo! Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need a reason. Capricorn, but I move like Gemini. On the same vibes, golden eye. 2 Chainz featuring a Drake. You can't never say I told a lie.
Little peanuts on that plane, little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bit. They ain't no shit. This shit can go one direction if you Zane in this bitch.
It might cost you. It might cost you. Ask your last man what that beef had cost. What the fuck it cost? If he the last man standing, the dead man walking. If that man walk, whole niggas they make me nervous. Say what I want like an award show. I beat the beat up, this is Stockholm.
Okay.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need a reason. Capricorn, but I move like Gemini. On the same vibes, golden eye. 2 Chainz featuring a Drake. You can't never say I told a lie.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plane, little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bit.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
They ain't no shit. This shit can go one direction if you Zane in this bitch.
Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you. It might cost you. Ask your last man what that.
Oh, Zerthus, I just saw your message. My bad. I don't know how long ago you sent it. I am using Pro Tools version 2019. I just refused. I bought it back in 2017, and I just had it upgraded up until 2019. So I just refused to pay more for that. I already spent my $600. Y'all don't need no more money. But I've tried the newer Pro Tools, but I can't see myself, paying for it. Hopefully the end of this month I'll probably just upgrade it. But I've been having a lot of problems with my UAD plugins on the later versions. So hopefully that answers your question.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better.
All right, so I'm just gonna be not grasping at straws. I'm gonna be like doing minor tweaks here and there, but I think that's 80% of the sound there. I want a lot of my sound to be that aggressive compression sound. So what am I hearing? I think we're going to go in, and I think I'm going to go in and fix the dynamics first. So my theory when it comes to mixing is that I'm always going to be EQ before compression. I am literally always going to be EQing before compression, but I like to focus on compression first. My thing is always beginning with the end in mind. If I can get the compression to a level that I want, and then EQ into that, I've already heard the sound that I'm going for. And so, like I said, we're going to experiment. With that said, I'm probably going to send these vocals, I think that's why I did that. But I'm probably going to send these lead vocals into an aux track themselves. So let's try to do that, because they're not really going to sit on top of each other. That's my main thing. Let's go with lead aux. And because we're routing to the vocals, we're going to keep that routed to the vocals. All right. And from here on out, I'm going to try to move as fast as possible, not take up too much of you guys' time. And so, like I said, now that we have both of our lead auxes routed to this, let's experiment with some 76. You never know if this stuff is 100% going to work, but let's go with some, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to use the Rev A so that I can get both that aggressiveness. I'm going to get both the aggressiveness, and I believe that the 1176 to my ears, it definitely adds a bit of grit and saturation and a tone that I like to it. My theory with compression, if you always want to know how the compressor is affecting your signal, turn it up to the max, push it past its limits. So for me, that's turning the attack all the way fast. If you don't know, the 1176, the 7 is the fastest on both the attack and the release. 1 is the slowest. This is a very fast, aggressive compressor. So we're going to start with 4 to 1. I'm sometimes pushing 20 to 1. Sometimes I'm all buttons in. It literally is an experiment. I don't have a set rule of thumb when it comes to compression. If it sounds good, it is good. Sometimes you need to over compress. Sometimes you can do too much by over compressing. So I don't have a set in stone, but I do advocate for always knowing what the compressor is doing to your sound. So when we push this past its limit, let's hear what it's doing. So, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to use, because maybe not a lot of people have the UAD. Let's try it out with the Wave 76. I know that is a more common compressor. There we go. Awesome sauce. So I'm going to turn it back to the bluey setting, and it's the same thing. We're going to, fast attack, fast release. And I'm just going to push this back. I know in the Waves version 16, they have the auto makeup. I'm just not used to it yet. But I'm just going to push this back, and I'm going to push this compressor until we're getting 20 dB of gain reduction. And don't think about it as that's too much compression. Maybe it's not too much compression. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, you should only be getting 3 to 5 dB. No, if you need more than that, you need more than that. So let's push this, see what sound we get. The goal is to get an aggressive attack or aggressive punchy vocal. And so we need that by any means necessary. So let's go.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better.
And as you can see, just by pushing it that much, we get the sound that we want. Now, obviously, to my ears, this is a bit too aggressive. And so even before I push this threshold back, or even before I push the input going into the pushing up to the threshold back, decreasing the gain reduction, I'm just going to decrease this attack. I'm going to slow the attack just a little bit, because one thing I love about the 1176 is how it grabs consonants. And so when I talk about a punchy vocal, an aggressive vocal, this is what I mean. I want something that grabs it almost instantly, but kind of lets it go almost instantly as well. So that's why we have a fast release. So before we even do that, we are pushing, as you can see, we get 10, 15 decibels of gain reduction. That's a lot, but as you can see, we're already about getting to where we need.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT.
So, as you can hear, just by decreasing and slowing the attack just a little bit, we allowed that vocal to breathe, get a little bit more energy back into it, to where now it's like sounding, it's giving that aggressive. And not only is it aggressive, it's also making that vocal just stand at attention throughout the now we don't get that inconsistency in dynamics, which is why I chose to fix the compressor first, because that was more of the issue than fixing the tone of it. Was the dynamics. We dipped in and out, here and there. So just pushing it back to this 5 setting here, keeping it on the 7, really got us where we need to. I like it right here for right now. I'm just going to set it, move on. Now, as I said, we do have some problems here in the tone, which the compressor did bring that out a little bit more. Another part of that is that we got a lot of that plosive that's affecting the compressor. That's just something we can't fix, unfortunately. And I don't have the isotope tools to do all of that de-plosive and de-reverb stuff. I don't have all of that. So we're just going to have to work with what we got. But that's the beauty of why we love hip hop. It's dirty. It's unclean. It's, we don't want clean, we don't want that clean sound. So I like it here. Again, speaking of clean sound, normally everybody's go-to would be the Fab Filter Pro Q4 or the Pro Q series, any of the Fab Filter stuff, for that stereo sound. Even the stock Pro Tools compressor, EQ would work in this situation. But I'm going for more of a sound. I do know what I need to fix. We're going to try to use the Sheps 73 because I've already built the tone that I want. So the reason I'm going for the Sheps 73 is, or the 1073 EQ sound, is because in addition to this sound that we get from the 76, the 1176 compressor, this 1073 sound, not only is it a staple in hip hop, but it does something to your vocals. It adds a lot of weight to your vocals. And I don't have the UAD 73. I don't have the UAD Spark subscription, but I do have a couple of UAD plugins. I'm waiting for them to drop the 1073. But it's this EQ here. It not only EQs, it also gives you limitations, which limitations can be a good thing, especially when you're trying to move fast. I'm not really going to focus on the preamp because, like I said, we recorded into the 737, so I'm not really worried about that. But what this EQ in my ears is going to do, or I'm hoping it would do, is allow me to get that sound that I was looking for. Decrease how much boxiness we have, lift the top end with that nice crisp 12k hertz sound that we get from the 1073, and just get rid of some of those plosives. I think Neve has one of the most aggressive high pass filters that I hear. You know, we could do this with the sterile EQ. So if you don't have this or any type of 1073 sound, you can still follow along with just the stock EQ. Just know that this is going to add a little bit more of a character to it. So with this, again, it's all about experimentation. I don't know how this is going to sound, but I know what I want, and I'm going to use this to achieve the sound. So first off, I'm going to get rid of those plosives. So I'm going to turn this high pass filter on, and immediately we're going to get at 50 hertz, but let's see if that's see if we need more.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody.
All right, let's hear that again.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela.
So to me, we kind of lost that plosive P sound. So 80 hertz is really good. Let's see, we have that boxiness, which to me probably resides between this 0.7 and this 1.6. Which is just 700 hertz and 1600 hertz. Let's try 700 hertz first. Again, you always want to know what the changes you're doing to your signal. If you do want to know that, just always push your plugins, excuse me, more than what you would normally do. And so I'm going to push this all the way up, see what we're affecting. Maybe not too much, because you don't want to push it too much with EQ, because you'll, you know, overcorrect in some cases, which is a lot of the reason why I also went with this. I don't want to have the control of all these things that I need to fix, and I also don't want to be able to see it. So I'm going to boost this just a little bit here where we're at.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type, cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK.
So naturally, hearing that 360 hertz boosted, you would kind of think, well, maybe it's 360. Let me take that out. But be careful with that, because that's a lot of the body of your sound. And so if you take that out, although I said I wanted it thin, I don't want to take a lot of the body out, because that will, you know, will end up working backwards. So to me, it sounds like that 700 hertz is the next best thing. And again, you know, these EQs, the Neve EQ is very powerful. You don't really need much to do it. So I'm really going to listen to this and see what we got. Let's check it out.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better.
So
told the bitch that she ain't my type, cut her out like clerical.
So now if we, you know, take too much out, we done scooped out the mids, and then now it sounds weird and unnatural. So I liked it about 2.5, 3 dB.
Pedal to the metal, president.
So as you can hear, when we listened to it beforehand, and I wish I would have bounced out the, I wish I would have bounced it out for reference. I told myself to do it and I didn't do that, so I apologize. You know, compared to the reference or the rough draft that we did, we got a lot. We don't have a lot of the, what's the word I'm looking for? We don't have a lot of that boxiness anymore, and it still sounds like the vocal is intact. And that's what I really love about this Neve EQ. You can do a lot without having to do a lot. And so again, I still want that, you know, clean, crisp, and clear sound. And so that does mean we do have to affect a little bit of the bottom end, just to get the sound that we want. I'm not really a fan of boosting, but I am gonna boost here, if that makes sense, here in a second, but just not in this low end. I'm gonna take out the low end so that hopefully it opens up the top end, because EQ is about focus. You know, you take a little bit of the low end out, it starts to open up the high end. So let's try. I normally go with 220, but we're going to sweep through these 4 frequencies that Neve gives us, or that Sheps gives us. And so let's check this out. Let's see what we get. I'm going to boost it first, see what we're doing.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500.
Yeah, all of that's got to go. If you can hear that, we didn't even need to boost that much. So we're gonna bring this down here.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type.
So as you can hear, now it sounds to me like the vocals just opens up a little bit. They don't sound as muddy anymore, which was a byproduct of the pop filter not being present. But also it feeds into that compressor just a little bit more nicer. We get a little bit more of that nice sound that I like. Also, we get to keep the depth of the vocal without having to make it too tinny. Now, this does change the vocal ever so slightly, which is what I love and which is what was desired, but we don't have to get too thin with it, and that's what was the desired sound versus our reference. So we could really stop here, and just these two plugins, just these three changes literally affected how this vocal sound. Now it sounds like this vocal is supposed to be with this beat. And so because I like the Neve 1073 sound, it's not really required, but because I really love this high-end shelf, we're going to add that. Maybe not a lot, but having just a little bit on there is my safety net. Let's check this out.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need a reason. Capricorn, but I move like Gemini. On the same vibes, GoldenEye. 2 Chainz featuring a Drake. You can't never say I told a lie.
So we got the sound that we wanted within 2 plugins. And if you were watching this earlier, you noticed we had 8 plugins on every single track, but we were able to do that with just 2. So, normally it's not this slow. I normally move faster than this, but I like to explain to you guys my thought process. And so that kind of does slow me down a little bit. So I apologize. I just really want to make sure that we grasp these fundamental concepts. So just the Shep 73 and the 1176, I don't hear anything that I want to change. If anything, I probably go back and change a few things, but that really sounds good to me. Once you get that, don't try to change nothing. Don't try to, your first brain is usually right. If we need to make any changes later, it's there, but to me it sounds good, so we just move on. All right. And so with this ad lib, I'm jumping straight to the ad lib, by the way. The ad lib is a different story. I like to throw on just the RVox, and my idea of the ad lib is just make sure it's an ad lib. So the very first thing is I'm gonna go here, and I like to hold shift, or not hold it, but I like to hold shift, click on the gain, and now we can control both of those together. And like I said, get that ad lib out of the way of the lead vocal as much as possible, but make sure it's still heard. That's the goal. And so I'm going to use this RVox. It's the simplest, it's the easiest. And so we're just going to do some stuff here, maybe around here.
1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need a reason. Capital 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need a reason. Capital 15.
And that's it. I feel like it stays level. There's not too much attention to it, and it's right where we need it to be. It doesn't get too loud. It doesn't get too soft. And that's pretty much it. The only thing I would do before the RVox, maybe after the RVox actually. This is probably one of those rare cases because we already pretty much have the sound that we want dynamically out of this, and so changing the tone of it would also change, in my eyes, the dynamics of it. We may get lesser dynamics because we're taking out less frequencies, and so once we get the tone dynamically, we'll probably go in, and we don't need anything fancy. I'm just going to come in with the, I don't know why that's telling me that, because I didn't even select that. There we go. I usually do it when I do that, but we're going to go to here, and the only thing that I'm hearing is I probably want to take out a lot of that body, right? So I'm going to use this. We're going to try this first, see what that does.
1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this.
That was just that wasn't even a planned move. That was just the idea of do the opposite of the lead vocal. I want to, our lead vocal has a lot of body in it. We don't want a lot of body, or we want to push that back, make it sound far away. So we just take out a lot of the main frequencies, except the present frequency. So that's pretty much what I did. And as you can see, you don't need rocket science to mix this stuff. You don't need to over process. If there's any people who are like, oh, you didn't do much to it, or it doesn't sound finished or anything like that, I would rather have a release song than trying to process it with 100 plugins. 100 plugins is just going to make it sound unnatural, and you're going to end up fighting a lot more. So I would rather work with what I have, because it wasn't professionally recorded. It was recorded in my bedroom, so it's not really much you can do from that anyway. So I like how it sounds. It sounds really good. I did boost a little bit of the 6,000 hertz and above just to get a little bit of that air in the lead vocals. It is panning left to right. I probably would spread this out just a little bit more. And that's pretty much it. I mean, everything else just falls into place. Just to save a little bit of time, I'm going to have these hook vocals going into the lead aux. And that's where I like it.
1500 Montclair sweater, bitch,
and we move on to the hook vocals.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit.
And you can see, like, because we started off leveling first, I'm not changing the volume of anything. There's probably some slight increases here and there, but that's the effect of everything being brought up by compression, so that naturally makes it louder. Then there is the fact that we are making everything open and present, which makes it sound louder. So it sounds like the vocal is sitting on top of the beat, and which makes it sound just a little bit louder, but the loudness is really coming from the transistors and the transformers and all of the stuff that's adding character to the sound itself, and a lot of changing the dynamics. And so let's see here, let's see what we get.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bit.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
Oh, I forgot to send this to there. Let's go to lead aux.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bit.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
They ain't no shit. This shit can go one direction if you zane in this bitch.
So, to me, the hook vocals, although they're going into the Shep 73, I want to do a little bit more processing on those. And what I want to do is take out just a little bit of that body. I want to have the effect of the metaflanger going a little bit more. And so what I'm going to do is take this EQ. And we're gonna go, whoops. We're gonna go here.
I can afford them.
I'm gonna listen.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bitch.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
They ain't no shit.
All right. And so maybe we increase this just a little bit. I kind of want to decrease this coming out of my headphones because it sounds weird.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bitch.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
They ain't no shit. This shit can go one direction if you Zane in this bitch.
I'm high like mo.
All right, maybe too much body coming out of that. Let's just bring that back up a little bit.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bitch.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
They ain't no shit. This shit can go one direction if you Zane in this bitch.
I'm high like motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you. Ask your last man what that beef had cost. What the fuck it cost?
That sounds crazy. That sounds crazy. So I was listening to this meta flanger effect. Yeah, without that stereo spread, it kind of sounds weird.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bitch.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
They ain't no shit.
There we go.
This shit can go one direction if you Zane in this bitch.
All right, and so the other thing that I did is just the Abbey Road tape. We're using it to push a lot of the slap delay, getting a lot of that tape delay in there. I probably would, let me hear how this sounds.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bitch.
Yeah, I was rushing that, and so I think I would bring this slap delay down just a little bit.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bitch.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
They ain't no shit. This shit can go one direction if you Zane in this bitch.
I'm high like motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you. Ask your last man what that beef had cost. What the fuck it cost? If he the last man standing, the dead man walking.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I believe your name is Tilt VS Beats. I'm probably reading that wrong. Sorry for pronouncing that. Appreciate that. He says clean mix already. Yeah, you know, that's what I like about the beauty and simplicity is you know, my words are not happening because I'm still a little bit sick, but I definitely appreciate that. The beauty of simplicity is you can move fast, and if we need to change things, we can definitely fix them as we go. We don't have to spend time. We don't have to spend time over processing. So let's see. I like this meta flanger mixing into the Abbey Roads. And now that I'm listening to it again, I do think we have a little bit of a de-essing problem. It's not gonna... Oh, tightest beats. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Gotcha. Let's see. So now that we got a little bit of that out of the way, we can go... I'm not gonna do too much de-essing because I really like that crispiness. I like to start off by listening to the side chain. Just kind of hear what we're doing. Again, my whole thing is making sure that we know what our plugins are doing. And so let's listen to this. Let's go to somewhere. I don't even know where we're at.
1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, that's a lot of S's. So maybe we need to go a little bit higher. As you can hear, it's not really like, you know, apparent or too much of a problem, but it is there. Yeah, right about there is kind of like, yeah. And we just want to control it just a little bit.
1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. 1500.
All right. So I like to just go where there's some S's, take that out, and probably as a safety net, we can push this back just a little bit. Like I said, it's not really a problem. Just want to be able to control that. And we move forward yet again. So let's go now to these vocals here. And a lot of this doesn't need to be affected as much. I'm probably just going to do some heavy, compression on these hook dubs with the same theory as the ad libs. We're going to make a new track, and I'm going to go with hook dub or dub-ox, something like that. All right. Titus asks, quick question, Waves versus McDSP plugins. If I could afford McDSP plugins, I would get McDSP plugins. Man, I have played around with a lot of the McDSP stuff. I do have the analog channel, the AC101 and the AC202. Wonderful plugin. I love McDSP stuff, just can't afford it. I actually want their hardware, the hardware box that they have. That's definitely a good question. I kind of been off Waves. If anybody is an OG of this channel, I think I have had this channel for 3 years now. At this point, I made a video about Waves. I'm still not forgiving them for the stunt that they pulled back in 2023. You know, and I hope, you know, that probably loses me a lot of future sponsorships with Waves, but you know, it's just business. That was a bad business practice. That was bad business, man. And so I use a lot of the Waves plugins still. You know, I use what I have because they're still a great company. I just haven't bought anything from Waves since. I still only get their free Black Friday stuff. So that's pretty much it. But let's see. Let's go with, oh yeah, that's what I was doing. So, the dub-ox. All right, so I'm gonna set that to be safe, solo safe. And like I said, when it comes to mixing this stuff, you don't need every tool or trick in the box. You just need to do what gets the job done. So again, we'll probably go with some RVox just to bring those vocals up. That's probably all we need to do. If we need to do anything else, they're in the way, we can fix that.
1500 Montclair sweater.
And we need to go to where they're present.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit.
And we need to route it to vocals. And I don't think we're doing that. Yeah, we are. Okay. So
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bit.
Who the fuck the?
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bit.
okay. So you're probably thinking, oh my God, that's way down there. You're getting a lot of compression. We're only getting 6 dB of compression. Again, it does not matter how much compression we're getting. I'm listening for a certain sound. I'm just listening for that vocal to stay leveled. Maybe not the whole entire time, but we're already mixing into a limiter, so we got pretty much the sound that we're gonna end up with. And so
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bit. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bit.
And just like that, it brings the vocals up. That's all we need to do. So again, we move forward, you know, and now I can move on to effects. And so that'll probably be how we close this out. So I'm gonna go all the way over here, just these vocals.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need a reason. Capricorn, but I move like Gemini. On the same vibes, golden eye. 2 Chainz featuring a Drake. You can't never say I told a lie.
All right, let's experiment with this reverb. So I'm going to add this reverb that we have here, this R verb. And I was going to say let's substitute it for the Valhalla Vintage verb, but let's see if it works. So one thing I like to do with reverb to make sure that it's kind of like a habit. I actually saw Mixed by Ali do it, so it's kind of really much a habit than a actual trick. But I like to put these sends, because it's a mono, it's coming out stereo. I like to put them mono, and I send 100% of the signal to the aux track, which is our vocal reverb, and then I just kind of affect it the way I want there, and that tells me everything it should tell me everything that I need to know about, do I want this sound, how much of the sound do I want. And with this mono mode, it kind of helps me gauge where it naturally should sit, and so I want to overhear it, see what I've done.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela, 1500 Montclair sweater.
So I like it. It sounds more of a room to me than a plate. So since we don't have much of the top end on these vocals, which we probably do, but just not a lot, I'm just going to use this opportunity to boost some of that up.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela, 1500 Montclair sweater. Bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out a clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT.
I do think we got a little bit we can bring in a little bit of that low end.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela, 1500 Montclair sweater. Bitch, I'm...
So again, my whole philosophy with everything is know what your plugins is doing. If you have to push it up, push the volume up, make it loud, get it to where you know what it's doing, so you're not arbitrarily doing things. What I did here was I just boosted this top end just a little bit. I don't want it to be too dull, basically. I think we go backwards if it's open clear reverb but dull, open clear vocal but dull reverb. That's just kind of working against itself to me. Also, I introduced just a little bit of the body back into the reverb. We're at a comfortable and safe place where the vocal it has enough thickness, enough depth to it, or enough of a depth that I like to it. The other thing to note is people will tell you, when it comes to vocals, add 2 seconds of reverb, add 4 seconds of reverb. This is a rap vocal. Things are moving fast. You don't always need a lot of reverb to create a sense of depth. As you can see, we have a 1.3 second delay. I was debating on going with less than a second, but it sounded too roomy to me. I do want some of that to be in effect because of what I'm going to do with the delay. And so, yeah, I kind of like it like this. And so with this still in mono, I'm just going to blend it in, Here we go.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela, 1500 Montclair sweater. Bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out a clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT.
So right about there, it kind of like is just loud enough to where it's there and you can feel it. But if I take it away, it's definitely something missing. So you'll hear what I'm saying here in a second. Watch this.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela, 1500 Montclair sweater. Bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out a clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK.
And then when I bring these back to left and right, it just almost kind of disappears, but that's where we need it.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela, 1500 Montclair sweater. Bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her.
So you don't need audible or a lot of reverb just to make something sound, they're popping fireworks. You don't need something audible. You don't always need something audible to give it a sense of depth. But if we do move that, something sounds like it's off. All right, and so that's we're gonna go with some delay. I referenced a Future song. I can't remember the name of the song, but he had some ping pong delay. I kind of still want that going. He had ping pong delay on the entire verse or the entire vocal, and that you did hear. And so we're gonna add some. We're gonna introduce that delay back again. I'm gonna push it up so you can hear what's going on, but we're gonna have it to where it's just audible. Maybe not, out of the way or where you feel it. I do want that to be an effect, but we're gonna have it to where it's just audible. So let's check this out.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit.
So automatically, I do not like that verb on that. And I'm somebody who, as you can hear, I like to add reverb. I'm gonna do that just in case. I like to add reverb to my delays to give it a sense of space, so they're not dry delays, or they're not just repeating what you say, but they also have a sense of depth. But in this case, I don't like it. Let's try this out.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain.
Sorry if that was disorienting, but as you can see, like I said, we have the quarter note delay with that, and that's just gonna go backward. Listening to a Lou Diaz video, I'm just going to I'm gonna set a low pass way more than I probably would in regular life, and I'm gonna set the high pass way higher than I would. So we're gonna go probably about 350 hertz, and we're gonna bring this down to 1.5K.
Pedal to the metal, president.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, and then that allows me to boost this up, the feedback up just a little bit. And I added some compression, probably before I knew what side chaining or how to side chain in this, so I probably thought I was doing some side chain and I'm not. But one thing I am gonna add is a little bit of distortion. That's a neat little trick that I've been doing a lot with my delays. And I do have the Valhalla Vintage delay. The Valhalla delay. I do have that, but I'm just working with what we got right here. So I'm gonna go harmonic, and these are those moments where you don't want to be making decisions like this on the fly, but let's go with the decapitator. It's tried and true. It works. Let's get it. All right. So again, gonna do the famous push this stuff so you can hear what it sounds. Now that is going to be loud, so I'm just going to push this down just a little bit.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody.
All right, so maybe I'm going to push this down just a little bit. All right. And where'd my decapitator go? Okay, first of all, we need to be saving all of this. I don't know the last time I've saved this, but it's now saved. And so we got some, maybe I need to punish it. I'm experimenting at this point. Sorry if that gets loud.
Pedal to the metal,
so that sounds like it's a bit overkill, but what happens if we decrease the drive and turn down the high cut? And this is all experimental.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain. Never seen.
Sorry, so sorry if that's disorienting. So that works. It's just loud.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit. Pedal to the.
I'll probably bring it down just a little bit.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no man.
So yeah, that adding the distortion to the delay gives it a little bit more of grit, more character, and not only that, it also kind of, to me, it marries it to the track. So if we do that on a smaller scale, you know, we'll get the sound that we're looking for. So I'm going to just decrease this.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need.
On second thought, we'll probably bring back in the reverb because, you know, listening to it like that is probably, it's a bit jarring. So we're gonna give it a sense of space, just a little bit.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need a reason. Capricorn, but I move like Gemini. On the same vibes, golden eye. 2 Chainz featuring a Drake. You can't never say I told a lie.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it.
I'm even with bringing this up just a little bit more.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT.
So, I like that. I really love that. The only thing that I'm fighting with is that we may need to add a little bit of chorusing. All right, maybe add a little bit of chorusing here, and that's just to kind of give the vocals just that much just a little bit much more of that clarity. So I'm just gonna create the doubler for that. I was about to say, but yeah, go there. Okay, I'm gonna take it through there, and we're gonna go doubler 2, and we're pretty much finished with this mix. Everything else is pretty much up to you at this point. You can experiment with a lot of this stuff, you know. Again, I'm gonna push this up, and I'm not even gonna like try to sift through these things. I'm just gonna use either the basic doubler or the pensato vocal. We are gonna turn this direct off so that we're not copying the signal, but let's see how that sounds.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need a reason. Capricorn, but I move like Gemini. On the same vibes, golden eye. 2 Chainz featuring a Drake. You can't never say I told a lie. Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500.
Okay.
Afford them little peanuts on that plain little bitch. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bitch.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
They ain't no shit. This shit can go one direction if you Zayn in this bitch.
All right. So obviously the the ad-libs need some space. Let's try that. And with the ad-libs, I'm probably going to push it back just a little bit more. I will do this directly on the vocal. It's a trick I learned from Mixed by Ali. Just literally boost this up, bring this down, the dry wet knob on the reverb, and this is the Pro Tools stock reverb. Probably don't need this. We'll hear how that sounds. Let's see what we get. I want to hear it on this part. This is the part that I...
Highlight motion, proceed with caution.
Maybe not that much reverb.
Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you. Ask your last man what that beef had cost you. If he the last man standing, your dead man walking.
So Yeah, I like it like that. That sounds really good. Going back to the doubler or the chorusing, that to me added gave it the dimension that it needed. The reverb is giving it a sense of space. The delay is giving it a sense of, to me, it's like depth. For lack of a better term, I was going to say a sense of direction. Noting that we are either close or far away, or just emphasizing a lot of what we're saying. And then we have the doubler, which is giving it that dimension, making it sound like these guys, this vocal is multiple vocals, but it's one vocal just with a lot of thickness. So it's that's what it is, adding a lot of thickness and spreading out that mono vocal over this track, kind of making it seem like this vocal is supposed to be here in this track. And so let's go. Lost what I was about to do here because I wanted to talk about that. And then the reverb on the ad lib is also giving a sense of that character, that delay, that or that depth, just kind of giving the layers of this 3D sound. Even though we have a 2-track beat, we're able to still create a little bit of depth, give it a little bit of that 3D sound, and I think that's amazing. I think it's so cool. I think mixing is very cool. There was gonna be something I was gonna do to kind of make this a polished sound, but I can't remember, which is why I write a lot of things down. But as you can see, we went from having 8 tracks on every single vocal. You'll just notice that less is more in a lot of cases. There are times where you'll need to use 3 EQs or 5 compressors, some parallel compression, some multi-band compression. You'll need the tricks. And now that I remember, as soon as I said tricks, but before I get into what I was gonna do, there's pretty much, not a lot to this, as you can see. So I hope this encourages, the aspiring mix engineers to note that, done is better than perfect. Is this a really good mix? I probably could do better. I probably can come in with some automation. We've already spent, an hour and some change on this, but definitely I can come in and do some automation. I can come in and do that. But the whole goal is, just imagine if I wasn't explaining or expressing this stuff, how fast we can get this out into streaming platforms. Again, I don't plan on releasing this song, but how fast you can get this out just by keeping it simple, making only the adjustments that you need to, not just because someone tells you to. The other thing that I was gonna say was this part right here where it says, "I'm high like Martian, proceed with caution, it might cost you." It sounds good. It sounds good, but it just doesn't have that grit that I'm looking for. So what I'm gonna do is a trick that I learned from Ken Lewis, mixing engineer Ken Lewis, from a song that was years ago at this point. Gosh, we're probably approaching 20 years since that song came out. And it was him mixing Down on Me. And he used a low voice to kind of thicken up the vocal. And so I think that's what I'm going to use here. I'm going to listen to it again just to make sure. Highlight motion, proceed with caution, it might cost you. Yeah, I think we can benefit from that. So I'm going to call this hook low. And the entire goal is to give a sense of like a impending doom sound. Sorry to Kanye that up. I really can't describe that. But we're going to add a low voice, not to be heard, but to be more felt. So experimenting again, I'm probably going to start with the low air. Probably going to put that on 100% if I can. No, we have the full range. Okay, so we're going to take out a little bit of this direct sound. And we're just going to copy this down here and see what that does.
Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you.
Yeah, so that didn't work. My next trick is probably going to be the vocal bender. Let's see what we get here. And we're just going to do that. Turn the pitch all the way down to 1 octave below. And I'm going to change the formant a little bit so that it doesn't sound like me, but it's me. All right, so let's see what we get here. And we're going to hear it first, but we're going to blend it to where we feel it.
Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you. Ask your last man what that beef had cost you. If he the last man standing, the dead man walking. Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you.
You know what I'm saying? So that, to me, that low voice blends in so perfectly, or matches perfectly with that 808 bass. And so that, to me, when you sit that underneath it, it's just gonna sound menacing.
Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you. Ask your last man what that beef had cost you. If he the last man standing, the dead man walking. Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you. Ask your last man what that beef had cost you. If he the last man standing,
you know, and to give it more of a sense of dimension, we are now going to add some more doubling, and we're going to put that directly on the track.
Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you.
You know, so you don't really hear it. It's low enough to where it's not going to be perceivable unless you're really paying attention. You and I know, you know, it's there. But when you're listening to this in real time, or jamming out to this, or when you turn it up, you're not really gonna hear it. Speaking of turn it up, we want to make sure that we're not introducing a little bit of muddiness, so I'm just gonna bring this down. As a matter of fact, we are going to use the Dave Pensado vocal. That just gives me a little bit of that, and then I'm just gonna take out any of that rumble that's not gonna make sense.
Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you. Ask your last man what that beef had cost you.
So without it, it just kind of sounds naked, like it just like an empty threat.
Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you.
And then with it,
highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you.
There's just something lurking in the background. So just a little trick, just to get that to, you know, sound a little bit more menacing. You know, like I said, everything is an experiment. Everything, you know, doesn't have to 100% work. But I think with that, we got a full song. Let's listen to it from the beginning.
It's my job to handle life and death situations on a daily basis. It's what I do, and I'm very good at it.
Flagman.
Pedal to the metal, presidential shit, no Mandela. 1500 Montclair sweater, bitch, I'm in my fucking villain era. Never seen nobody kill it better. Told the bitch that she ain't my type. Cut her out like clerical error. Fuck you think that OVK mean? Starting to think I'm GOAT. About to kill them all this season. Summer's coming and I need a reason. Capricorn, but I move like Gemini. On the same vibe as Golden Eye. 2 Chainz featuring a Drake. You can't never say I told a lie.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bitch. You can't afford to be speaking on my name, little bitch.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
They ain't no shit. This shit can go one direction if you Zayn in this bitch.
Highlight motion, proceed with caution. It might cost you. Ask your last man what that beef had cost you. If he the last man standing, the dead man walking. How niggas, they make me nervous. Say what I want like an award show. I beat the beat up, this in Stockholm. It's OVK niggas, better hope and pray to God I don't do a part 4. God I don't do a part 4. Got wines with with me, and they all known the pop semi-autos out of autos. Now that's rocket power for the darkest hours. My brightest days seem money showers. I'm so peculiar to the unfamiliar. Wake up in the grind, no coffee filters. You gon' need the Hubble just to view this. Need more than a shovel just to dig me. This the old Izzy if you miss me. I got a whole assistant just to make decisions. Coupe all white like it's a race condition. You can hate it, we ain't in the same position. I just skirt off like when your bay undressing. I'm a grown ass man, why the fuck you playing with me? Make the whole world feel me like the pandemic.
I can afford them little peanuts on that plain little bitch. You can afford to be speaking on my name, little bitch.
Who the fuck these niggas think they are?
I just realized I've been talking this whole time and the mic hasn't been working. I am so sorry. So what I'm saying, what I said was, I definitely want to appreciate you guys. I'm going to hop off for a second. This mix is where it's at because, we moved fast. We broke things. We kept our intentions with what we wanted out of the song. And just tried to stick to that. I was saying that it wasn't 100%, it's not 100% foolproof, but if you stick to, those principles of, going with your creative mind and having a plan going in and knowing the end, beginning with the end in mind, you can get these mixes done a lot faster. Definitely focus on levels and panning and organization. Those are going to be your primary things. And I do appreciate you guys. I'm going to hop off. We'll probably come back to this mix because there's some things that I do want to change about this that I probably would want to share with you guys. That I definitely would want to share with you guys, but I'm going to take care of my wife, who is also still sick. But I definitely appreciate you guys who have joined. I want to definitely take the time to appreciate you all because I have been off this channel for a while, since 2023. I will have a video explaining what happened and also the good news that is in store, especially for everyone on this channel, and also what that would mean for you guys on this channel. Have some amazing stuff. With that said, I definitely want to cater to you guys. If there's anything that you would like me to cover, anything that you would like me to kind of go over with you guys or kind of explain, or anything you just want me to discuss, I'd be more than happy to. You can leave a comment. You can also follow me on my new TikTok, made by _ 850 Izzy, IZZY. Again, that's made by _ 850 IZZY. I'm going to be posting on there this coming year, but I definitely have some great things in store for you guys. With that said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your new year. I appreciate the ones who stuck around with me and those who are still watching. So with that said, I'm gonna hop off. Thank you guys. Take care.